Hi, I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. It's Sunday morning today. I'm going to be taking the afternoon off to watch the Euro soccer finals in London, where England are playing. Best of luck to them. And I'm going to just have an hour or two doing some samples and checking the mites on my hives here to see if I'm near the point at needing to treat. I would normally expect towards the end of July to be getting my first treatments in, so I'm going to do a sample of a few hives in this yard, particularly of hives that are the outliers, like the odd strong hive, the odd hive that is had other influences in, like bees added to it from various places I picked them up. So I just want to make sure I get the hives that are most likely to potentially have higher mite levels. I want to check them to see how we're looking. So let's have a look. I have my mite testing equipment here, my Easy Check mite gadget here, my alcohol half cup measuring scoop, and my white tub. That's all we really need. But first of all, I'm going to go through the hive, check the health of the hive while I'm at it, and also to, of course, find the queen, which is the prerequisite here. So we'll have a look at that hive first. Got my smoker going. So this hive doesn't have a heck of a lot of activity, so this is one that I think could potentially have been stressed. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was queenless. So there's part of the round of activity I'm wanting to do, but actually, having said that, I am totally wrong. Okay, we have a beautiful looking upper brood chamber here. I've checkerboarded the frames and just wanted to get them building, but let's see where we have brood, etc. Got frame. Foundation being built. We'll see if there's a honey flow on this way by shaking a few frames. Just building these ones out. Some lovely capped brood. This is not the frame that I would be using to looking at the sample, because I want a frame of open brood. The reason we use frames of open brood for sampling is that open brood is being attended by lots and lots of very young bees. This is the sort of frame I might be looking for. So move the smoker, it's blowing smoke in my face. We have lots of emerging brood here. The older brood is emerging along these lines here. Actually, this is just full of eggs. It's not full of young larvae, so I wouldn't be looking for this frame, but this is the sort of frame I might find the queen on. Once we know where the queen is, we can do our sampling without fear of hurting the queen. She's certainly been all over this frame. It is full of eggs. Just about every cell that is open. Oh, in fact, here is the queen right here. Look at that. Here's the queen. She's been filling up every one of these open cells with eggs. So that is a very healthy queen. So we're going to put this frame to one side. Now we've got a hive where we're not going to, no matter which frame we choose, we're not going to hurt the queen. So I want a frame of open brood. This is all mostly sealed brood or capped brood. Here we go. This side of the frame is perfect. Lots of open brood. That means that the vast majority of these bees here are young house bees who've only just emerged from the brood themselves. That means if there's a mite on them, that is the nearest reflection we can get of how many mites we have in the brood. And the brood is where 85% of the mites are. So we are going to get ready to do that sampling and move up a little higher so we can see more what's going on. I'm just going to double check. This is the frame we're going to sample. rubbish. Frame of brood, bees. Now the bees that fly out of there, they are the older field bees, but the bees that stay put, these are the nurse bees. They've never really flown before, so they wouldn't know where to go even if they did fly. Got my sample ready to go. So now I have my half cup measure ready. So we're going to scoop them up. Half cup measure, half a cup of bees going in there. And then now in the alcohol. And they get a rapid shake. All of these bees are now dead, and any mites on them are getting washed off. There's no hurry now. I'm going to make sure the queen goes back in our hive. We're actually done with the inside of this hive. Shake, shake, shake. So any bees caught in the colander there that had a mite, the mite is being washed off, and then now be floating about in the alcohol here. We've got to count any mites floating in the alcohol. And I don't see any, which is good. Now if that's the case, I'm going to double check in another way. I've got my white tub here. I've washed the mites off. The dead bees can be disposed of. Still don't see any mites, but if I want to be extra sure, I can tip it into a white container like that, and I think I might actually see a mite there. That little red speck looks like a mite to me. There are no others. Yep, I'm pretty sure that is a mite. So that's a great way of actually improving the way you're sampling, just to check the mites that way. I'm going to find that mite, remove it from my sampling. I can reuse this alcohol. In fact, I'll add a bit more. We'll be ready for the next test. So that's a 1 so far. 1 mite out of 300 is well below the threshold that I'd need to treat. 6 mites in 300 bees is the point at which you should be sampling, you should be looking to treat your bees. Now let's see if we can find anything else going to get the alcohol off this. That's the one thing I forgot. So I'm going to use alcohol like that. Now I've got alcohol over this, it'll dry out pretty soon. So let's get ready to sample another hive. So that was one of these. I'll let that dry. In the meantime, let's go and look at another hive. Let's look at a bigger hive here. See See if we can find the queen there. That'll be a challenge. I'm not going to go through the big one. I'm going to go through the small one at any rate. It's still pretty big. She's not confined by a queen excluder, so she can be in any of these supers. Honey. Not going to spend any time looking for the queen amongst honey, which there is a lot. How about that? Found the queen. Big hive like this. What a lucky guy I am today. Queen is right here. I'll leave her on that frame. That was lucky. Found the queen on my third frame in this brood chamber. Pretty hard to miss her. Big and fat. Very nice. Now we need to find a frame appropriate for doing our samples. This super is so full of honey. I'm in fact put that to one side and go further down to find frame. Lots of young brood. That's the sort of frame we want. Let's get the sampling kit. We'll do our sampling over here. This frame doesn't have as many house bees on it, so I might shake a couple of frames of house bees in here. Lots of young brood, fair number of young bees. That's what we're looking for. slightly shy of a full half cup. Close up the hive. I'm always a fan of doing two things at once, so I'm taking the opportunity to, now I know the queen is in the bottom two supers, I'm moving the super that was full of honey and a bit of brood up to the top, so I'll be able to harvest that honey soon. So I'll put a queen excluder on, keep our queen down here. They can continue to expand up into here. I'll put this super on to extract the honey soon, once the brood is emerged. Meanwhile, back in our sampling, still don't see mites in here. I will check to be absolutely sure, and no mites at all this time. Great. So that's a 1 and a 0. looks nice and healthy, this hive. Here's our queen. So our queen is here. So she's going back. I know the frame next to it, this one, it's perfect for sampling. So we're going to sample this frame. Nice frame which has a mixture of brood in it, lots of open brood, so nice young house bees. Doesn't matter how many fly away as long as we get the ones that are still in the tub. These back. So this is 3 out of 30 hives, the third one out of 30 or so hives. Probably got 34 hives here, but this will give us the answers that we need to know. Possibly one. I don't think so. I don't think we got anything there. Just to be absolutely sure. And again, I think we might have one mite just here. So a 1, and a 0. Tipping the mite, tipping it into a dish like this is a great way to be absolutely sure. Get a much better idea. I think we're done now. That alcohol's getting a bit dirty now. So that's great. I would have expected mites to be at a higher level here by now. So an average of less than 1 for three samples out of this yard. Now I'll be sampling other yards to see where we are with those as well, because it will be different from yard to yard. But at the moment, I would say that whereas I would normally expect to be treating this yard in July, these samples don't say anything about that I need to sample yet. I've got very low mite levels so far. I'll keep on sampling and I'll keep you updated. If I see the need to sample to treat early, I'll let you know. But right now, so far so good. Remember, this is my yard, not your yard. So it could be very different in your yard. And just as a reminder, I would normally expect to be starting to treat around the end of July. So I would still be working on the assumption that you're going to be close to that time. Do your samples just the way I did here, and that'll tell you one way or another whether you should be treating now or whether you can wait a bit longer. I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. See you next time.